Have you been wanting to get a winch installed on your Can-Am Defender but don't have the time? Well, SuperATV's got the solution with our quick winch mount, and today we're going to show you how to get one installed. So let's get right to it. So the first thing you're going to do is go ahead and remove all the contents out of the packaging from SuperATV. Then you're going to grab your Fairlead, and we're going to go ahead and get it installed right here in the factory location. Now we're going to grab the M8 by 25 millimeter Allen. We'll grab 2 of them. We'll grab 2 flat washers, 2 lock washers, and 2 M8 nuts. Now we're going to go ahead and get the Fairlead installed to the machine. So we're going to insert our Allen headed bolt into the Fairlead. Line it up with the holes on the frame. Then on the back side, we'll have a flat washer, then our lock washer, and then our nut. So we're gonna grab our M8 by 25 millimeter hex head bolts. We'll grab 4 of them, 4 lock washers, 4 flat washers, and then we're gonna slide our winch into the frame on the front of the machine. So we're gonna kick our winch into free spool, pull some rope out. That way, whenever we start to insert our winch, we can just go ahead and feed our rope right through our Fairlead. We're going to line up our holes and we're going to install our M8 by 25 millimeter hex head hardware with the flat washer up against the frame of the machine and then the lock washer up against the head of the bolt. Once we have all our hardware started, we'll just go through and fully tighten it. Once we have it all tightened up, we'll go back through and check it with a ratchet. So now we're going to take this harness and we're going to plug it into the lead or the connector coming off of the solenoid. So it has a groove in it. As you can see on this connector, it's got a groove. You got to line that groove up with the groove on the connector coming directly off the solenoid. Then we're going to go ahead and open the hood, pull straight towards you, and then lift straight up. You're going to see we have this panel right here. We'll just want to lift that tab, just push that tab back, get this out of the way, go ahead and remove it for the time being. Then we're going to route our wires off of our winch up here to the hot and the ground. Then we're just going to go ahead and remove the center section here out of our grill. Just has a couple push tabs and some tabs on the top. Then we're going to route our wiring all the way up through this hole right here. Then we're going to grab 2 of our M8 nylocks out of our hardware kit. We're going to put one on this stud here and one on this stud here. And we can just go ahead and fully tighten those connections. So what we're going to do is we're going to route our harness up through this shroud right here. There's a little hole. This is the passenger side of the machine. We'll just feed the wiring up through there. And then there's plenty of holes drilled in this shroud to where you can just take a zip tie and tie it up out of the way. We're going to wait till we're completely done with our install before we do that, but that's just to kind of give you guys an idea. So now we're going to take this harness out of the kit and we're going to route it the same way that we just routed the previous harness that we installed. Route it right up through here, right up through this hole. So it'll be like this. And you're going to see you have these connectors that are going to be tied up underneath the dash of your machine. These are factory. Let's go ahead and cut the zip tie. So if you look at them, you have a white wire with a red tracer, a white wire with a black tracer, and a white wire with a green tracer. So what we're going to do is we're going to go green to green, and then black to black. Make sure you get those bullet connectors snapped in there good and tight. And then we'll go red to red. So now we're inside the machine. We'll go ahead and remove our key, set it out of the way. we're gonna remove this center section here where the rocker switch is. Now, sometimes you can get your hands behind and just pop it. Otherwise, if you couldn't, just take a screwdriver and just kind of wiggle it in there until it pops these tabs out. So we're gonna look on these wires in here and we're gonna find the white wire with the black stripe, the white wire with the green stripe, and the white wire with the red stripe. Those will be the same wires that we just hooked up underneath the hood of the machine. So before we can make our connections, we'll want to just go ahead and knock out one of these inserts in our rocker switch panel. On some of the older model machines, you'll have to take a razor knife and just cut it out for your rocker switch. But this is a brand new machine, so they already have done it to where you just have to take the knockouts and push them out. So this is our rocker switch here, rocker switch harness. What we're gonna do is just go ahead and feed all of our connections through the hole in the rocker switch panel that we just knocked out. And just feed it through. Make sure that your switch is aligned correctly. It says winch in on top, winch out on the bottom. And it looks like it's gonna fit perfectly. So we're gonna connect our black wire to the black wire, or the white wire with the black stripe. Then we're gonna locate our green wire, or our white wire with our green stripe, or green tracer. We'll hook that up directly to the green on the rocker switch harness. So the next thing we're gonna do is make our connections here to the factory keyed on power source. So you'll have one stud right here. It's taped up with red tape. And if your machine's never been wired into it, will as well. And then over here on the left side, it's just an open stud that's gonna be your ground. So you have your ground right here, and then your keyed on power source over here. So we'll just go ahead and start removing this tape. All right, so we have our red wire on. We're gonna take the same M8 nylock nut that we used up on the front studs, and we're gonna use it up underneath the dash here on these two studs, because from Can-Am, they do not come with studs. Then we'll hook our white wire up on this left side stud. And then all we're gonna do is tighten our connections. So now that we have everything wired up, we can just come in, turn our key to the on position. And as you can see, our winch works. Then we're gonna go out here, we're gonna install our stop block and tidy up our wiring. So now what we're gonna do is take our stop block, and as you can see on the stop block, you have a non-recess side and then a recess side. The recess side is gonna go towards the outside, or towards the actual hook here. We'll get it lined up, then we'll take our long Allen-headed fasteners that are in the kit. We're gonna slide them through both portions of the stop block. Once we have a flat washer, we'll grab our nut. And the hardware for this stop block was in a baggie in the kit. It's separate from all the rest of the hardware, so it's pretty easy to find. We'll just go through for all four of these and just put all four washers and nuts on. Once you have that, you just want to go through and tighten them up equally. So now that we have our stop block on, we're going to take our hook. We already removed our pin from our hook, so we'll just go ahead and reinstall it. Just like so. Take our cotter pin and get it inserted into this hole and put it through. And then you just want to bend it away from itself just so it stays. Like that's perfectly acceptable, or you can bend it all the way up, whatever you want to do, but it's not going anywhere. And whenever you need to remove it, it just makes it easier if you leave it like that. And the last thing we'll do is take our pull strap, slide it on to the hook. So now all that's left is to go through, tidy up the wiring, make sure all your connections are fully tightened. Just make sure all the wiring is good to go, make sure all your hardware is tight, and then you're gonna grab your wireless remote. And to power this wireless remote on, all you have to do is hold down on both the buttons until the red light illuminates, and then, All right guys, that's all there is to it to install SuperATV's quick winch mount on this Can-Am Defender. Be sure to check the description below for a link to pick yours up today, and while you're there, be sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.